What up, boys? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So today we're talking about the Phage. And we're actually going to talk about the Phage this time, and not get sidetracked on some BS nerfs this time. So, alright, before we get into it though, check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Gaz_TTV, and make sure to sub to this YouTube channel, maybe even hit that bell for notifications when the videos go up, if you're inclined to do that. But alright, let's get into the Phage. So this is the third of the 3 beam shotguns we're going over in these videos over the last couple of days here. And this one actually does have some extremely high potential. I'd say it's my second most favorite. I'd say the Phantasma is my favorite. But this one is probably the most powerful, to be honest. So what we've got here is we have a tentacle gun. And it fires 7 beams of continuous biochemical energy that depletes the life of any surface they contact. Doesn't that sound awesome? It is awesome. And it's actually really, really strong. So we've got 19% crit chance with a 2x crit multiplier. So, okay crit stats for a shotgun. This thing does seem to crit a lot. And I believe that crit chance is per beam. And there's 7 beams, like I said. So you crit a ton with this thing. 12 fire rate. So I usually don't run a fire rate mod on here because it can chew through the magazine really quickly. But if you put on a fire rate mod, you will get really, really high DPS. So it's going to be up to you. As it says in the description, 7 beams, 7 multi-shot. So multi-shot mods will give you additional beams. So it does scale really well with this weapon. 2-second reload. A little bit long of reload, I suppose. But if you don't put on a fire rate mod, you won't be reloading it super often. So up to you. Then status per projectile, 15.5. And you have a bunch of projectiles as stated. Oh, and would you look at that? Innate viral damage. Now it's going to be 5 per beam. There's 7 beams, so you have 35 viral damage. So this thing can get some unique elemental combos. So for example, you can get viral, corrosive, and heat. So when you first off, when you fire it, it's going to shoot the beams all over the place. This is in my top 10 primaries video. I'm just going to do an actual video on here. And you ADS, it will focus the beams into a pain zone. And the enemies do not want to be where that is focused, let me tell you. So that's pretty much how it is. Not super complicated. And let's just check out the no Riven build here. So, as I said, you could run Fire Rate if you want really high DPS for the Simulacrum. We're actually going to show some Steel Path Mott gameplay here in the game after this is all done, just so you can see it destroys the Steel Path. Alright, so we're going to do, just like the Phantasma build, it's going to be a build that's going to be focusing on weighting heat procs the highest. But we have the luxury here of, instead of having rad damage, we have viral damage innately, so we can do corrosive, viral, and rad. And since the heat's the highest, it's going to make it so we get a bunch of procs. And you could run Prime Shard Shell on here, but the problem with running Prime Shard Shell is you get a lot more corrosive damage than you actually want. And it makes it so you don't get 10 viral stacks as quickly. So if you wanted to mess with the build, I'd say switch Shell Shock for Toxic Barrage, and then switch Contagious Shell for Prime Shard Shell. You will have more corrosive damage. You're not getting as many heat procs, so it might be, it's up to you if you want to try it. But yeah, we have 3 heat mods in here to make it so we have mostly heat damage, but enough of the other ones, or the other elemental, we can still proc those too. Additionally, we have Prime Ravage on here. 19% crit chance per tentacle is pretty good. So Prime Ravage will give us some additional crit damage when we do crit, which we will crit quite often. Additionally, you could even run Hunter Munitions on here, but this thing does not need Hunter Munitions. It is pretty hilarious to use it though. And yeah, multi-shot, vigilante supplies to make it so we get some orange crits sometimes. And yes, I know my mods are not maxed out, guys. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. Don't you worry. Let's spawn in some heavy gunners and bombards. And yeah, this is with no Riven to start off with. No outside buffs. I don't got corrosive protection. I don't got Arcane Avenger, etc., etc. So just a little bit time on target there. See, even with our not Prime Shard Shell, we are actually not getting 10 viral procs reliably. So you could technically take off a little bit more heat if you wanted to get 10 viral procs like every time. But I depend on the heat procs pretty highly for the dot damage. Let's just completely never stop firing on this guy and see what happens. So he gets chunked really hard if we don't take our finger off the trigger button. And if we take our finger off the trigger button, 22,000 heat proc on a fully armored enemy. Of course, they are getting 10 corrosive and viral procs, so they're going to get annihilated. So let's stack him up and then just shoot him with our Conditioned Overload melee. He does a bunch of damage. So yeah, this is extremely powerful, guys. I highly recommend this if you don't have it already. It's got decent Riven stats. It could do some fun build combinations as well. So let's just... So this build is great, for sure. Like I was saying, you could maybe take off one heat mod and just to get like a little bit more viral procs consistently, but I think it was fine, honestly. So here's going to be a build with a God Roll Riven. We are borrowing this one. Phage, Visa, Setacron. We've got multi-shot, damage, critical chance, and minus damage to infested. So, yes. Very much yes. Since it's a beam weapon, putting on plus damage mods really does help it. That's why I really want to run Blaze. Heat and damage. We got Prime Point Blank and the Riven with heat on, or with damage on it. Now, like I said in the previous build, with Prime Shard Shell, you have like you're more consistently going to be proccing corrosive, which is going to have diminishing returns because you only need 10 corrosive procs. So the viral is going to be the lowest here, with the heat being second place. So and we also have no Prime Ravage on here just because I did a lot of testing, and the damage was actually, the kill time was better with Prime Point Blank over Prime Ravage, and some other mods as well. So here we go. Let's see how many bullets it takes. That's going to be a 30,000 heat proc. I need to count how many bullets. 18,000. You already have a heat proc on you. About 2 to 3 bullets. And this thing does fire really fast, so... yeah. You could put 100 munitions on here if you thought this wasn't good enough kill time or something like that. Now, something to keep in mind. With these heat procs, like, yeah, the heat procs are really fun. But when an enemy has a really beefy shield, like a Steel Path shielded enemy... the heat procs will sometimes not burst through their shields. So you need to be careful about that. Alright, let's get into the gameplay so I can show off what I mean. So, yeah, this is one of the tests I was doing without, since the Riven is so godly, I was trying it out without Prime Point Blank. So that might be part of my problem here. I was trying Prime Ravage out, and yeah, I would probably recommend not having... You could either run Prime Ravage in another slot, and then take off maybe Blaze, but then you're going to be a lot less heat procs, so, you know. If you have a God Roll Riven, how about you've decided after that? Like, whatever stat you have on your Riven. So, with the crit chance on here, we are a lot more consistently getting crit heat procs, just crit everything. Like I said, 100 munitions is pretty hilarious on this thing, but super unnecessary. So, let's go to Steel Path mod. It actually is, the enemies are a lot more tanky on the Steel Path. This is true. Melee is going to be your main kill source here, but the Phage can actually do some really good stuff. So, if you put on Prime Point Blank instead of... Ravage here, I think even the shields wouldn't be a problem. So I'm just going to get some stacks on Nidus. I'm also running the augment mod for Nidus that gives you increased critical chance when you stomp some enemies. So here we are. It's AoE, so that's pretty nice. Pull them all together, stomp on it, maybe shoot them if we feel like it. And yeah, Nidus is good. You heard it here first. Nidus Prime hopefully coming out... I think it's to be summer of 2021. I cannot wait for that one. But yeah, as you can see, like sometimes like the enemies aren't dying to the heat procs because their shield is really beefy. I mean, they do die to it, but they don't die immediately. And you'd think, there's the guy right there. You'd think the Corpus would just die immediately to the heat proc, but you know, the shield does regen. I actually have my Undying passive there. Good thing Nidus does not get one shot. And now we got our link back up, so we're good. So yeah, I could definitely highly recommend this to you guys. The Riven Dispo is there as well. And even as I mentioned earlier, like it's not you don't have to do viral, corrosive, and heat. There's other builds too. Here, I'll show one of the other ones I was messing with. Also, we did no damage buffing there as well. So as you can see, it's pretty good. When Heavy Gunner shows up, the Heavy Gunner gets melted too. So here's a Toxin 100 munitions build I was trying out, and actually it worked pretty well. So we've got pretty much just Toxin and Viral, so this will annihilate Corpus. We could even put on a Bane of the Corpus if I level that up. Let's just give it a quick shot on some armored enemies. And then we're going to end the video. We could even use Banshee buff if we felt like it. Alright, so as you see they're melting. That was only 3 slash procs too, so we got pretty unlucky with Hunter Munitions. It can do Toxin and Viral, which is not very common at all. And they get chunked when those crits start happening. That was with no 100 Munitions procs at all. That guy just melted. So it's really, really good. It's extremely good. I mean, this is the God Roll Riven right now. Oh my god. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's Banshee debuff these guys with the dot build. Shoot him in the leg. Alright. Okay, I was wondering what was happening there. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, so yeah, of course you don't have to always do... I was just doing controlled firing there just to show how it goes when you're like just watching them bleed out, because this thing is really good with dot damage. So yeah, keep an eye out on videos coming out every day in the future, guys. There's going to be Deimos videos as soon as I can get them out. Discussion videos about some things that probably should get changed, and all of that nature of stuff that you've come to expect on this channel. So I'll talk to you guys next time, and hopefully you had fun. Peace.